KUVO Jazz 89.3 with Nelson Rangell's A Night in Tunisia. Want to tell us a little bit about that one?
Well, that's a pretty interesting version, I think. It's got Brian Bromberg on bass and the wonderful Vlad Girsevich from Denver playing beautifully on piano on that one. And I think that's an interesting
version.
A very interesting version.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, in the studio today, if you didn't know, it's Nelson Rangell. He's a Colorado native from Castle Rock, Colorado, a jazz musician, composer, and Nelson is known for his works on tenor, alto, soprano, saxophones. He also has inspired passion and masterful energy with his flute. His latest CD, By Light, True, is true to its title. The collection balances bright and engaging melodies with intense and deeply emotional playing. He shares his artistry on several flute-centered pieces. Oh, good morning, Nelson.
Wow, Tree, I'm trying to recover from that very nice introduction you've just given me.
We do what we can.
Wow, terrific. Thank you.
So let's talk about you beginning to play the flute at 15. Now, when did you decide you wanted to play jazz?
Well, you know, I come from my family is a musical one, and I kind of came to playing late, but I started playing the flute. I kind of immediately took to it in about 8th grade, so I think I was 14 and a half or 15, don't know, and I just loved playing right away, and I sort of figured out how to play it. It made sense to me. So I figured out the instrument very quickly and just began having fun. It was fun to me right away, and that's a blessing. And
Yes.
Also, if somehow I wonder when I sort of talk with kids how it to encourage that music is great fun and hitting the drums or putting your hands on a piano or putting air through a pipe, how to make it fun and engaging as quickly as possible for kids and for listeners and, well, for all of us. I
Exactly.
think.
So therefore, when you grow up and play that instrument, it's more fun than considered work.
I tell you, it was something, for me, it was always, I just loved it more than anything else.
That's wonderful.
Right away.
Hey, at least you knew right away.
I sure did. Like I say, it's a blessing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right. So now I understand your parents don't play an instrument, but your siblings do.
Well, my parents were Depression kids,
Okay.
you know, and they both would have been wonderful musicians. My father became a doctor, and he used to joke sometimes with me that he was a violinist who
Okay.
became a doctor.
Wow.
And that was his joke, you know. So he loved music. My parents both loved music, but were, I think, just too hard pressed when they were children just to even, well, frankly, you know, contribute to the family and make a nickel.
Right.
Anywhere. I
Make
think
ends meet.
That's really true.
Keep the family alive. So
Yeah, man.
your siblings play an instrument
As children.
as children. Right.
Trying to contribute to the family. So
Exactly. Well, so your siblings play. Your brother Andrew is a concert pianist. Bobby is a woodwind player. And your sister Paula is a vocalist.
That's
Let me
right.
ask you, have you ever thought about creating a band with your siblings?
Well, I'll just say that my sister Paula was just inducted into the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame.
Marvelous.
Yeah, she's a wonderful blues singer, and she's lived outside of New Orleans pretty much all of her adult life and participates in the Jazz and Heritage Festival down there. She's a regular on the scene. My brother Bobby lives outside of Paris, and he's lived there for about 40 or so years now. And he was, you know, one of the studio guys in Paris and well known on the jazz scene there. And my brother Andrew is a PhD from Juilliard in New York and was a professor at Dartmouth College and has recorded countless CDs on both the Bridge and the, I believe, Steinway labels of all sorts of classical piano repertoire.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
He's really something. I'm really proud of all of
I'm
them.
sure you are. How could you not be, right?
I'm telling you.
That's amazing. Now, you have played with many musicians like David Sanborn, Jaco Pastorius, Eric Gale, the Rippingtons, the GRP All-Stars, Patty Austin, Tom Brown. These are just to name a few. Can you tell us your most memorable experience?
Well, they're all. I will say this: I'm 63 now, and I've been lucky enough to have a career at this, and I've sort of had a proverbial cup of coffee, if you will, with everybody. I suppose.
Okay.
I've in one way or another crossed paths or been in some situation where somebody was on the stage or something at the same time that I was. So it varies when we talk about names. I don't know. Sometimes in reply to you, I guess maybe I was putting air through a horn at the same time that someone else was on the stage.
Okay.
And sometimes I was properly, truly playing a gig, I guess, with some of these folks. And just lucky. I just have, as I say, I've been lucky to play in various things with a lot of different people, and most of the time get paid for it.
That's the good news. You want to get paid. As there was a song I was playing not too long ago called "Please Pay the Musicians."
It's a nice thing to
It
pay
is.
the musicians, for sure. We appreciate that.
I know that's right.
So anyway, in response to you, I guess I've played with a few folks, and that might have been for who knows what. That might have been on a jingle on television for 30 seconds, or gosh knows, in some nightclub long ago. But I suppose I've played with a few folks, yeah.
You've got some great experiences.
Including all sorts of great musicians here, like the ones I'll be playing with at City Park on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You want to name those? Who are you playing with this Sunday?
Well, you were talking about playing with folks. I'll be playing. Eric Gunnison has played with Phil Woods and played with the Dizzy Gillespie All-Star Big Band. He's played with Roy Hargrove and Eddie Daniels. He's playing piano.
Right.
Bijou Barbosa has played with Chuck Loeb and Eric Marienthal and Dave Grusin, and he's a feature. He's the CJRO here. All these guys play with the CJRO, and he's on pretty much every recording here in town. Bijou,
right?
Eduardo Barbosa, and Michael Marlier has played with Dave Grusin and Lee Rittenauer, and they're all professors too at the University of Denver and University of Colorado. So it's pretty A-team.
That's incredible.
Dudes.
You got some incredible dudes playing with you
That's
this
right.
week.
And they've played with all the cats.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Now, you've created up to 18 albums since 1988. You've been a busy man.
Well, I've been lucky, and I've certainly have recorded. Been lucky enough to have recording deals, and since I was pretty young, I think I can't do the math. I was told there would be no math on this exam.
There's no math on this.
As a friend of mine says. But I got a record deal in New York. I went there to get a record deal, and I did. And that's it. Yeah, I've sort of been a recording artist to some degree ever since, and made my living at it. You told me there were 18 of them. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, that's what I saw.
I'll go count. I don't know.
I looked on your website. That's what I saw. Well, let me ask you this. If you could have anyone in the world on your next CD, who would it be?
Well, I've been very lucky with that, and a lot of guys have been on some of my heroes, and so on a flute record that I did that was just a flute record called Blue, which is a nice CD, and Bob James is on a lot of the cuts on that, and he's always been one of my heroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Bob James is great.
So that's someone who comes to
mind.
Yeah, why not? And but I've, gosh, what a question you've just asked me.
Well, hey, you answered it.
Love to play with Herbie Hancock. Right?
Okay.
But who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? Exactly.
That's right.
Well, we know that you're going to be at City Park Jazz this Sunday at 6 p.m. Would you like to tell our audience, listeners, how to find you, your website, social medias? Which would you like?
Well, I'm pretty awful with social media. I post gigs. I do have a website, and it is a project of mine that I keep talking about that I'm going to sort of do a bunch of. I have an idea about how to do some cool videos, but so far it's been more talk than action, but that's a plan that I have. And I'm around. I certainly do on Facebook kind of post gigs, so look out for that. And really, I end up posting gigs around town. It's always special to me to play at, no matter where I was in the world, I suppose. It was always very special to me to play my regular gigs here.
At your hometown.
I never stopped that, and I made a living. If I was out somewhere else, in the country, or just somewhere else, I'm a working musician. So I was always delighted, particularly delighted, whether I was playing at the York Street or at the Regis Cafe,
right,
or at Josefina's when I was a kid, or now Dazzle and Nisi's up in Louisville.
How about the Peck?
Well, I didn't play that. I went down and sat in at the Peck. I never had a gig of my own at the Peck, but I certainly heard just everybody. I remember going and hearing just jazz legends. How about that, man?
Right.
You just walk in, right?
Right. Never know who you're going to see at the Peck.
Man, and see some of the greatest musicians in the world while you were eating a burrito, and they didn't even charge you anything to come. It really was remarkable.
It was.
I saw Sonny Stitt there.
Wow.
I saw Sonny Stitt. You remember, was it Clyde's Pub? That's where I think I saw Sonny Stitt.
Okay.
Now, I saw Pete Christley. I think I saw Sonny Stitt certainly on one of probably his last gig here,
Right.
I believe it was a place in Wheat Ridge called Clyde's Pub, and it was with Paul Warburton.
Wow.
And this was when I was a kid. I remember Club Gambino. I remember Ellen Rucker playing there. I used to ride my Stingray to go see these folks. So I just want to, but getting back to it, I just want to say that it's special to me playing here, and I've seen people in the audience that I've seen all my career, and they still come, and we have a special thing with Dazzle's a wonderful enterprise here downtown, and I'm always very happy to play there. And getting to the City Park thing, I went to Manual High School, and it's just special to me to play, what can I say, for everybody, for my peeps.
But especially at your hometown, it sounds
and
like.
Just for a place that I know, a place that when I was on the cross-country team at Manual, I remember running around that park every damn day, with Coach Burrell on a megaphone yelling at me while he was in his car. So these are wonderful kind of memories.
That's great.
It is great, and I've just been fortunate to play and still see some of the same sweet faces.
That is beautiful.
Audience. Yeah.
Well, Nelson, I want to thank you for taking a moment to come down
Pleasure
and
to
be
see
a
you,
part on
Tree.
Community Connection.
Yeah.
It's always good to see you. A Colorado where everyone feels seen and heard. Now, I'm going to leave you with another Nelson Rangell. This is off his latest CD, By Light. This is Tidal Wave on Kubo Jazz.